go ahead and do one more update on the monk build. The build itself is mostly the same. Just run through that real quick. I moved a couple nodes over here to go and get these and these. I think I probably grabbed these in the last video already, but like that's the only thing I've really changed, and then everything else is just filling out any of the circles that I had partially done. And like after this point, I'll grab this one. I mean, I might lose this whole ring. It's kind of bad. I thought the unarmed damage would only apply to the actual punch, but it applies to the AoE from Shattering Palm. So you're basically giving up 25% damage for 25 or 20% AoE. 20% speed is irrelevant. Probably not worth grabbing this one. But I'll grab this one and I'll grab this one. And that'll be the end game build. Then like little bits of damage here and there to fill out the last 10 points. And then gear-wise, I actually have somewhat decent gear now. I've replaced some of the weaker pieces. I could still improve a lot of these slots. Like, this is probably the only thing that is best in slot, and it's not really best in slot, it's just you're going to have a hard time getting high lightning and fire res rolls with the rest of the stats it has. Everything else is good enough. The build functions the same way it did before. I did lose one skill slot, so I lost one feast, which now I just meditate once in a while. You know, unless things go wrong, you usually meditate once per map. And I've got very good durability. The freeze buildup would actually be really good for getting charges. But once you activate the stat power up, that becomes a moot point. You get them every pack. The little might dudes count the projectile attacks from your staff as range, and they point blank you with counters. It's not a big deal, but it will make me take a little bit of damage in the map. It only matters when you teleport. Because they keep their shield up for a second. They drop their shield as soon as they do their first attack. And since I get 3 or 4 hits off, I take 3 or 4 point reflections. If not for that, I wouldn't even taken a hit yet. Like, if I cared to try to get to the leaderboard, like, this character would be there. I stopped playing it basically after I made the last video on it and started moving its gear to new characters and then dying on them. I was trying to make a good Titan build. I wanted to make a specific good Titan build. Titan is the best class in the game right now if you just don't play it like a Titan. If you play it as like a wizard and you're just looking at the Titan with 50% more energy shield, 50% more damage, 50% more everything. It's very good. I wanted to play a life Titan, and you just don't have, like, they removed all the life percent modes, and they gave you nothing to compensate for that. So, if you're trying to build around life, good luck. They're going to have to tough that. So many of my Titans died to just, like, totally no reaction time one-shots. Just a couple mobs hitting me at once. Usually I would get hit with armor break. Don't have to worry about that on this character. You don't have to worry about anything on this character. You'll walk through all the enemies with no fear. apparently take a very long walk to the last rare mob I left in the map. But yeah, the build's self-explanatory. Just Shattering Palm and Ice Strike to detonate Shattering Palm. I have Gathering Storm. You need Charge Staff, obviously. You'll be popping that once per minute. But like, it's not part of your attack rotation. You don't have to do much to keep it up. And then, with my build, I haven't meditated again the map. Still at 7k, yes. Like I said, it's very low risk. Frankly, Matt probably did more damage to me than anything else in the map, and I could have just rolled away. 2k damage to tank that fire AoE. Cannot evade AoEs. Now, what's classified as an AoE is kind of random. A physical AoE is not an AoE. That's splash damage. Now, that mob that had that ring of fire around it, that is an AoE, and I can't avoid that. So, when I get hit by something like that, you know, it's a pretty good chunk of damage. But, yeah, that's the mapping. Like, even half-assing that, that's still 98 million EXP per hour. If you're using high-level maps, which they don't drop for me. I very rarely get high-level maps. But if you're buying them and running high-level maps, nothing changes. Like, you still one-shot them with the explosions. Like, you're still breezing through the content at very low risk. And I've gotten upwards of 180, 200 million EXP per hour while doing maps for EXP. Like, if you want to go to the leaderboards, this is the way you do it. Make this class, make this character. Kind of not really follow any particular build in that sense. Like, there is the build, but it's not like it's some super secret, you gotta get these nodes. Like, a lot of this is just totally optional. All of this is optional. This is optional. This is not really that optional. This is technically optional. Like, it's really good. I really recommend you grab this, but, like, you don't have to. You can go over here and get you can get these nodes for 30% while chilled or chalked, and you're gonna apply those either way. Like, you can grab this. You can grab this over here. Like, there's plenty of options. This is just, it's always there. Both 50% for cold and lightning. And, like, skill-wise, again, I don't actually use this. I put these here because I have nowhere else to put them. Martial Tempo, Rage, Pulp Nutrition. That's Ice Strike. Yeah, if you put a fourth one in, like, you can get your other sockets. You don't need them. You don't need them. It's just how good the build is. But more damage, obviously. Like, I don't know what other supports you can use. The third hit booster, Crescendo or whatever. Like, you do that. Honestly, it's not worth the expense to get these sockets on this build. But everything else is basically the same. Most of this kind of doesn't matter. It's just I had to find places to put supports, and then I had no supports for the places that kind of would benefit. Like, you gain a lot of damage by socketing more damage on Herald of Ice, but I don't have any more damage supports, and I need... Like, none of this can be moved down there. None of this can be moved down there. I need this stuff here. Like, I actually need this here, and I need this here and here. And this is just, none of it can really go anywhere else. Like, you put it wherever you want, but you need the AoE, obviously, and then Cold Mastery won't do much for Peril of Ice, and Ice Bite helps everything when this goes off, because it automatically freezes when it kills, so you're always getting Ice Bite. Like, at this point, you're kind of just limited based on the supports. We need more supports to do more things. So, like I said, the 4th and 5th sockets, they don't really do much for you. Which is good, because they're kind of expensive. They might not be now, but it was 25 exalts for a 4th socket. I was selling them. If I got any of them, they were sold. So, that's the build. It works. If you're actually putting effort into leveling it, you're getting 100, 200 million EXP, somewhere in that range per hour, based on the leaderboard. What, put 20 hours into this build and you'll be on the leaderboard. And it's very low risk. Now, there's obviously going to be things that will one-shot you, and you need to somewhat pay attention to that. But for most of the content, you're going to evade the damage, you're going to mitigate the damage, and between those two, you're not going to take any damage. Like I said, I went through that map, I overcharged my energy shield to 8k, I left the map with 5k energy shield. No Grim Feast, no top-ups, it's just... you don't take any damage. Nothing lives long enough to damage you, and if it does, you just play a little bit safe. Walk back, drop the bell on it, you know. The usual monk stuff. I didn't even show the skill this time, I showed it in the last video. In the higher maps, you'll find some packs of rare mobs that are like resist lightning damage, resist cold damage. They'll be somewhat bulky, you'll just go up and punch them and then actually do this correctly. I haven't been playing class, so my timing's off. But it does a ton of damage. Like, I'm not going to re-explain the skill again, I explained it last time. It's a lot of damage. Hundreds of thousands of damage by using that skill. Multiplied by the number of enemies that you hit. So yeah. That's the update. Great class. If I cared to take it to leaderboard, I'd be level 100 at this point. I'm gonna probably take a break from the game though instead, and focus on... I've been working on the Tree of Savior server, I haven't been working on it, but I've been doing some tests with some of the... They've been letting me do a couple build tests, and I've been kind of getting a feel for it so that when I actually do make videos on it, I'll have a decent understanding of the changes, so I can showcase the changes better. And for PoE, I probably will be taking a break from PoE until either I'm done with that, or until the additional skills. Like, I've done everything we have. I haven't actually messed with the magical. I've never been too keen on the mages. Like, I've done very little, and I know how all of it works, and I'm not super interested in any of the skills we currently have. But I mess with Summoner as well. There's nothing to make a video on. People have already made videos that break down every single detail of the Summoner. I've got nothing to give you in that regard. But made my crossbow character. I guess I could make a bow character as well. Most of my friends are playing bow characters, so I haven't really wanted to just kind of double up on the same items and whatnot so that we're fighting over gear. And I'm also not super interested. I was kind of interested in Snipe, and then it's kind of awful. Like, I'm sure you can make it good, but it is no Perfect Strike, it is no Gathering Storm, it is its own thing that is much worse than any of the other charge-up skills. And yet still, like, I guess if you barrage with it, it's good, but I wanted it to just be a really powerful attack, and it's not. It needs additional support, additional utility, and a lot of gear. So until they add the sword, spear, axe, flail, primal, like, until we get some of this, particularly this is what I'm waiting for. This is the class I'm interested in playing. But any of the others I'll also play. I'll play any of them. Until we get those, yeah, I don't really have a lot to do. I remade many Mace characters. I tried to make them good. You can make Mace good, but like I said, you just... I don't know if I said it in this video, but you have to take the Titan energy shield, and I want my Titan to be a life character. I don't want to be an energy shield character. There's not even really a major loss for being an energy shield character over a life character because Zell itself got buffed. But even then, I don't want to stack energy shield. And you kind of have to. So, that's the other thing that might change, that I'll make a new build. If they buff life and kind of remove the armor break rolls for mobs, like just remove that from the game. Only allow enemies to apply armor break like damage so that you can see it stacking up and just get away from the mobs until it goes away. No instant armor breaking. Then I'll go through and I'll make my Hammer of the Gods meme build that I was making before. I was right about to make a video on it, and then it died to the Act 2 boss helping a friend. I know it works, I know it gets good. It's never going to be anywhere near as good as this one. It's a melee build that doesn't really stay in melee all that much. Which I've made a couple improvements to it, but again, I can't be bothered until they at least fix the life side of the trade. But that'll be my next video on PoE2, most likely. Unless they add the Primal as like some surprise edition next week or something like that. I expect the life thing is going to come relatively soon. But that should be it. Later.